Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter, and I am from Manchester in the northwest of England. Can you tell me what is your name and where are you from? At the moment, I live in Milan, in the center of Milan, but originally I am from Manchester, in the northwest of England. Can you tell me your name and where you are from? Today, our focus activity for 6 to 7 is imagination. All right. You need to be creative in this focus activity, which is difficult for me because I am not very creative. I do not have a very good imagination. But let's see the language that we study in today's lesson. Today, in this focus activity, talking about creativity and imagination, phrasal verbs, and idioms. Hello, Angela from Bergamo. Welcome. Lovely to see you. And thank you for commenting. All right, today we do different language to talk about creativity and imagination in general. We also do phrasal verbs with a specific connotation or a specific connection to imagination or creativity. And finally, some idioms to learn and to practice. All right, let's begin. Well, being creative. Can you come up with 5 different ways to use a stapler except for stapling? So at home, can you, in the comments, write 5 different ways to use a stapler? A stapler is the object in the picture, and the verb to staple is the action of with the stapler to connect different pieces of paper. All right, so 5 different ways to use a stapler. I think a stapler, maybe one way to use a stapler is as something called a paperweight. A paperweight. Paperweight is something that you use to make sure that people do not people, the paper does not fly everywhere. So one use of a paperweight or one use of a stapler could be a paperweight. What about any other uses? What other uses can you think of for a stapler? So we have a paperweight, something that stops paper from moving. Okay, Angela. Yeah, very creative of you. Well done. So to make your dress shorter for an emergency. Exactly. Yeah. A stapler can be used for design, for fashion design. Really good. Yeah. Very good English. Well done, Angela. What else? We need to think of 5 different uses for a stapler. We have as a fashion design tool, as a paperweight, which is something that stops paper from moving. How else can we use a stapler? I suppose you can use a stapler as a weapon. In an emergency, you can use a stapler to protect yourself. For example, if you have the stapler to... Okay. Maria, stapler to make my mask. Exactly. Yeah, nice, good. Maria and Angela, you use the stapler for fashion design. Okay. Oh, have another use. A stapler can be used to used as a weapon. Okay, a weapon, something you use to protect yourself. Right, nice suggestions. Any more? I think it is difficult to think of 5 different ways to use a stapler. How else can you use a stapler? Okay. Think another thing you can use a stapler for is as a door stop. A door stop is an object that prevents a door from closing. We call it a door stop. But I don't think I can think of any other uses at the moment. No. Shall we see the different uses of a stapler? Okay, wow. Ah. Oh. We can use a stapler as a doorstop, as a paperweight, as a weapon, as a bookend, as a nutcracker, as a fake telephone to play with a child, as a hammer to scrape ice off your car. All right, so lots of different ways to use a stapler, apparently. So, Angela, to put on top of papers to stop them is a paperweight. So something you put on papers to stop them is a paperweight. A doorstop is an object that prevents a door from closing. And a weapon is something you use to protect yourself. For example, a gun or a knife or a baseball bat. A bookend. A bookend is something, I suppose, it's something that stops books from falling. If I remember, I think a bookend is a ferma libri in Italian, but I am not sure. A bookend, something that stops books from falling over. A nutcracker is something you use to open a nut. So it's something you need to open a nut. For example, hazelnuts or anything, really. A nutcracker. A fake telephone to play with a child. As a hammer. All right, a hammer is you use a hammer in construction. So for example, if you have a nail, a hammer is something you. Okay. A hammer is a martello in Italian, a hammer. And finally, to scrape ice off your car. Okay, yeah, exactly, Angela. Good, a great way to use a stapler to close packets. Yeah. All right. Lovely example. And to scrape ice off your car. To scrape ice is this action of to try and remove the ice from your car. All right. A lot of difficult and new vocabulary there. If you have any questions or there is anything you don't understand or there are any words you don't understand, please write in the comments and I can try and explain them for you. If not, let's continue. Oh, wow. A lot of reading. J.K. Rowling. Read the text and find 7 new words or phrases about imagination. Only very imaginative people can create children's books. And if you think about it, the world would be very different if J.K. Rowling had not dreamt up the world of Harry Potter. She was daydreaming on a train when she first came up with the idea of the Hogwarts Express. The first thing she did was write down all her ideas, and then she brainstormed some more. She thought of keeping the stories for her daughter, but 7 years later, Harry Potter was in bookshops all around the world. All right. Sorry about that. So, We are looking for 7 new words or phrases about imagination. So can you, in the comments, try and find me the words related to imagination? For example, what is the first word that we see related to imagination? So the first word we can see is an adjective. Imagination is a noun, but the adjective related to the word imagination is well done, Angela, exactly. Imaginative. Well done. Okay. And the next one we have be very different. Okay, Maria, another one is daydreaming. Well done. Yeah. Daydreaming is what lots of students in classrooms do. They sit and they think of different things instead of concentrating. To daydream is to dream with your eyes open. All right, there's another one. There is a phrasal verb. Okay, Angela, you're just missing the preposition. So had not dreamt up. Had not dreamt up. Had not dreamt up is another word associated with imagination. Another one, which is very difficult to spot. There is another phrasal verb to do with, it uses the preposition up again. Another word associated, well, another phrase associated is to come up with. To come up with. All right, good, Angela. Yeah, brainstorm is another good one. All right, let's have a look at the different words. Create, think about, dreamt up, daydreaming, come up with, brainstorm, thought of. All right, imaginative is one of them as well. But to create is a synonym of to invent. To think about is obvious, I think you know already. To dream up something is to create. Daydreaming is dreaming with your eyes open. To come up with is a synonym for to dream up or to create. A brainstorm is for example, it's a method of thinking of different ideas. And finally, to think of something is, it describes the action of something it's a constant thought you have in your head. All right? Okay, if there are any words in the text that you do not understand, just tell me and I can try and explain them. If not, we can continue. But lots of nice comments, Angela, Maria, well done. Let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, so now I need you to use the phrases. Fill in the gaps with the correct word or phrase. Dreams up, think about, daydreaming, come up with, brainstorm, thought of, created. How did you? The idea of painting the walls in different colors. 2. Your favorite film, why is it so special to you? 3. Before Picasso, no one ever painting the way he did. Number 4, J.K. Rowling, A World of Magic. Number 5, before writing an essay, you should always ideas. Number 6, I did not pay much attention in class and spent a lot of time. And number 7, do not listen to John. He always crazy theories about people. All right. In the comments, I want you to fill in the gaps with your own, with the correct word or phrase. Remember, so how did you remember to look at the sentence? Try and use the, so read the sentence and make sure the verb agrees. If you're using an ing form, the infinitive, if you're using the past tense. All right, so number 1 is difficult, but I think number 1, how did you come up with? Well done, Angela. Oh, yeah. All right, number 1, come up with, because it's the question, how did you invent the idea of painting the walls? What was the moment? So to come up with is a synonym to invent. Number 2. Yeah, well done, Maria. Well done, Angela. Number 2. Think about your favorite film. All right, so to think about something is the process of thinking for something specific. Think about your favorite film, you need to think about all the films you have seen, and then you need to choose the specific one. So it's the process of choosing something specific. What about number 3? do we think for number 3? Before Picasso, no one ever thought of painting the way he did. Right. So to think of is, in this context, no one ever thought of, no one ever considered the possibility to paint the way Picasso did. Yeah. So difficult phrasal verbs here. Okay, number 4. J.K. Rowling what? Exactly. Well done, Angela. Yeah. J.K. Rowling created a world of magic. All right, number 5. What do we think for number 5? Before writing an essay, you should always What do we think for number 5? Number 5 is it's a technique for studying. So you draw something in the middle of the page, and there are lots of different arrows pointing out. Exactly. Well done, Angela. Number 5 is brainstorm. Number 6. I did not pay much attention and spent a lot of time daydreaming. And the last one. Do not listen to John, he always dreams up. All right, to dream up is more fanciful. It's more to do with the idea of more imaginative. Think of something is more pragmatic. It's more to do with a general sort of thinking. To dream up is more creative. All right, difficult words and difficult phrases. To come up with is to invent. To think about is to just think in general about something specific. Before Picasso, no one ever thought of, specifically painting the way he did. Number 4, created, I'm sure you know. Brainstorm is the different type of thinking. Daydreaming is dreaming with your eyes open, and to dream up is to invent, but it is more creative and more fanciful. If you have any questions, please let me know and I can try and answer them to the best of my ability. All right. So, becoming more creative. In pairs, think of different brainstorm ways to increase creativity and imagination. So here are some ideas of how to increase creativity and imagination. For example, spending time with children. Well, spending time with children is something that increases your imagination because children have the best imagination. They are very imaginative because everything is new to them. Listen to music is another one that is it is something that requires a lot of creativity. Reading, taking risks in general. To improvise is to do something spontaneously. So to do something at the moment of thinking is to improvise, and to try something new every day. These are all different ways to try and become more creative. All right. Do you have any suggestions at home of how to become more creative? For example, do you have any other suggestions? To take risks. To take risks is, for example, to do something that may or may not be good for you. For example, risks are risky. So rischio. For example, maybe it's an example of taking a risk is to visit Japan without a guide, or to put yourself in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. Calculating risks is something different. Calculating risks is where you evaluate a situation. For example, if a risky situation might be to ask a boy to go on a date, or to ask a girl to go on a date, because maybe he says yes and it's the best and you're very happy, or maybe he says no and you feel a bit depressed and a bit sad. So calculating risks is to evaluate a situation. To stay in an uncomfortable zone is one example of taking risks. But to take risks is, in general, when you take a chance on something. So, for example, when you go to Las Vegas and you put €50 on red or €50 on black, you risk your money because you could win the money or you could lose the money. All right. A risk is something that could have positive effects or it could have negative effects. All right. All right. Thank you, Madalena. Perfect. Lovely, lovely. All right. If you have any problems or anything you don't understand, please just tell me and I will try and help you. All right. So the idioms, common idioms. Number one, he has his heads in, curiosity killed, think outside, my mind went, I had a light bulb, a penny for, the cat, blank, moment, the clouds, the box, thoughts. Okay. These are all quite common idioms that you do sometimes hear in English. So can you try and answer to match the common idioms for me? So what do we think for number one? He has his head in. What do we think for the first one? He has his heads in. Number one, he has his heads in the clouds. To have your head in the clouds. What about for number two? So number two, curiosity killed. Yeah, Elena, like phrases, idioms that we use for specific meanings or situations. Right, so Madalena, perfect. Curiosity killed the cat. All right. What about number three? Angela, exactly for number six. But what about 3, 4, and 5? Think outside. Ooh, Madalena, you are on fire. Think outside the box. Exactly. Think outside the box. Well done. Number 4. My mind went. What do we think? My mind went. blank. Number 4 is difficult. My mind went blank. Ooh, Angela, Madalena. Stop it. Very, very good. What about number 5? I had a light bulb. Think of in cartoons. How do you describe this when someone thinks of an idea and the light bulb turns on? You call it, I had a light bulb, what? Angela, exactly. A light bulb moment. And finally, a penny for your thoughts. Yeah. Don't worry if you don't know them at the moment, because I think in the next slide, we see some definitions to help you. All right. Yes, we do. Oh. Can you guess their meanings? He has bad results in school because he always has his head in the clouds. You shouldn't ask so many questions. Curiosity killed the cat. To solve this problem, we need to think outside the box. My mind went blank as soon as I sat down for this exam. MacGyver had a light bulb moment and used a paperclip to unlock the door. Number 6, you look worried. A penny for your thoughts. A sudden realization or idea. To think differently or in an original way. Or original new way. Difficult to say. Being too curious will end badly. To daydream. What are you thinking about? Can't think of anything to say. Or can you match the idioms to their meaning for me? What do we think for number 1? He has bad results in school because he always has his head in the clouds. You have your head in the clouds, you're always, ooh. You do not concentrate. You are always, number 1, you're always daydreaming. Number 2, you shouldn't ask so many questions. Ooh, he always has his head in the clouds. Number 2, curiosity killed the cat. Yeah, exactly. Number 2, you are too curious. The results will be negative. Number 3, of this problem, we need to think outside the box. Ooh, Madalena, exactly. Think in a different way. All right, number 4 is something that happens a lot. My mind went blank as soon as I sat down for this exam. Imagine you're in an exam. The question is 2 plus 2, and suddenly you can't count. Your mind is blank. If your mind is blank, it doesn't say anything. Number 4, F. Exactly, Angelo, good. MacGyver had a light bulb moment and used a paperclip to unlock the door. If you have a light bulb moment, it's suddenly, oh, like that. It's suddenly, ooh. So it's a sudden realization or idea. And finally, a penny for your thoughts is an idiom to ask, what are you thinking about? All right, a lot of new language today. So let's do a little revision. All right. So the phrasal verbs. To come up with is to invent. To think about is the process of thinking. If you think about football in your mind, you have the football players, the football teams, and normally it's to try and find something specific. All right? To think about and to think of are synonyms. To brainstorm is imagine you write Italy in the center, and then you write food, culture, and then the coast, skiing, all different ideas associated with Italy. We call it to brainstorm. Daydreaming is dreaming with your eyes open, and to dream up is to invent, but more childish, more creative than to come up with. And finally, head in the clouds is someone who cannot concentrate. Curiosity killed the cat is a sentence we use in English to warn someone. Curiosity killed the cat. Do not be too curious. Think outside the box. You need to think in an original way, in a new way to solve the problem. My mind went blank is, what do you call it? My mind went blank is when you have nothing to say and you don't know what to do in the situation. And Madalena, thank you. My elastic hair. Thank you. So now suddenly my mind has gone blank because of your compliment. To have a light bulb idea is when you have an idea very, very quickly. It's a sudden realization of an idea. And finally, a penny for your thoughts is an idiom we use to ask someone how they are or how they are feeling. Imagine your friend has a worried look or she's sad and you want to help her, you can ask a penny for your thoughts. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for joining me and for your lovely comments and answers. There was lots of good English today. Remember, we have webinars every hour for every level. So anytime you are free, please join us and you can try and continue to learn English. All right? So thank you, and hopefully I get to see you all again soon. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.